Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey Jump fans, let me ask you a question. Are you looking for that new book to help your young daughter, young son to get to greatness? Are you looking for a book to help them to realize that they can do anything in life? Well, listen to this show. My friend Jeff A.D. Martin has a brand new book out that's going to help your child, but we're also going to talk about things that he's gone through, how he's uplifted people, and how he's helped people on the way. So sit back and listen to Jump.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Hey Jump fans, and welcome. It is another Thursday. I hope your week has been doing fantastic. You're listening to Jump Podcast, a show that brings you interesting people that have gone through some stuff that have worked it out. I bring you people that can help you get to the next level. Now, my next guest has been going for a while, and he's been struggling, and he's been doing his thing, and now he's blossoming. I have my friend here, Jeff A.D. Martin. Jeff, are you there?
I am a man, Charles Matthews Jr. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. You're coming in good. You're sounding in good. You got that voice.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? You got the radio voice. It's like, I love this.
Microphone check 1, 2.
All right. I have to ask you, Jeff A.D. Martin, what's the A.D. stand for?
AD is my middle initials, and I use AD because there's a rock star out there who has the name Jeff Martin. And just to keep it separate so everybody knows who I am, I use Jeff AD Martin. AD stands for Albert Donovan.
Oh, see, I always thought you were the rock star.
In my own mind, maybe, yes.
All right, so listen, do me a favor. Tell my Jump fans a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Jeff A.D. Martin, and I am a motivational speaker. I am a social activist. I am an author. I am a podcast host, and I am someone who just wants to help people to find their purpose, no matter what it is, just trying to blossom in life and recognizing that no matter where they come from, no matter how difficult the situations might be that they've come up in or are in right now, they can bloom exactly where they are planted. And that's my mission in life. That's my goal, to help people find their purpose in everything that I do.
All right. Now, if some people might be listening and they'll be like, all right, I know Jeff, but I know Jeff from Brothers from the Six.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that project.
Brothers from the Six is a nonprofit organization that I run, and the whole idea is to give back to the community and do things within our community to help to see not only just children and youth, but adults, to see them blossom as well. We have been involved with a number of different initiatives. Going back to one of the holiday seasons, we collected some money, we got some money together, and we bought some gift cards from a big box store, and we gave them out to families who are having a tougher time during the holidays. We also did an initiative called #100 Sandwiches, where we gave out 100 sandwiches to people who were in need. And then we've also been involved with a number of different projects just before school starts, where kids can actually get free backpacks and free haircuts so they're looking fresh going back to school. And yeah, it's an organization where we just want to help out any way we can. We want to motivate kids to do their best. We go out and do speaking events as well. Again, just trying to help these children find their purpose, and adults as well, so they can learn to kind of get through their circumstance no matter what it is and just become great.
Now, if I think it was maybe a year or two ago, they did a piece on you on the news. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, I was going through social media and I came across these young brothers in the US dressed in suits and just looking fresh. And I thought to myself, how amazing would it be if we can actually duplicate this, redo this, but in Toronto on a larger scale. So through Brothers from the Six, I put out an all call on social media, just asking any young brother, old, young, babies, men to come out and put on their suits and just come together and take an epic picture. And so on that day, we had a number of guys come out, again, from seniors, grandfathers, all the way to babies. People just dress up in suits and ties, and we took a picture together. And it really was just not about the picture. It really was to show that, number one, we have positive role models within our community. And that's something that many people talk about. There's not enough male role models. Well, I wanted to show that there was male role models within our community. And then also, I wanted to show that, we had a unification as well. Something, again, that the media and society wants to show, that Black males don't have a unification, and we do. We come together, we can do some fabulous things together. And I really wanted to just come together, have the men come together and just show this positive image that we had of ourselves.
Right, but then let's dive right into it. Where did you start and how did you come up?
Well, in regards to me, I grew up in an area in the city of Toronto called Rexdale. And Rexdale is an underserved community. It has been for many years. It's a community where there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of gang activity, and the list goes on. And there's a lot of harassment by police as well, is what I experienced growing up. And while I was growing up, I saw all of this, and I knew to myself that there's got to be more to life. There's got to be more than just what's going on my block. And so I was able to use some of the negativity that I went through and turn it around into something positive. And because of that, because of what I saw around me, and I realized and recognized that some of the young men and young women who I would go to school with, who were in the neighborhoods, people who were killed at a young age, people who were involved in the drug game and the gang activity at a young age, I realized that if they had an opportunity, then their life would be totally different. What they saw around them was the negativity, and they believed that that's all there was for them. But I really truly recognized at that young age that there was opportunity that was out there, but it needed to be presented to these youth. And as I got older and started Brothers from the Six and started motivational speaking and everything that I'm doing, all of it is geared towards helping people find their purpose, because once you are able to recognize how valuable you are, there is so much you're able to do, but you got to get to the point where you can recognize that value in yourself.
Yeah, but then it's easy to say that, but then how did you find the value? Like when you're growing up, like you said, people say, oh, it's easy to say, and we're running down here, we're in the streets, you don't know how hard we have it. How'd you come up? How'd you find that, okay, yes, it's hard, I've been there where you are, but this is what I needed to do. This is how I found how to come up.
It's a number of things for me. I would have to say my parents had a huge influence on my life. My mother and my father, who are still together to this day, I would have to say for me, it was God. I'm a huge believer in God and Jesus Christ. And I would have to say that was one of the key factors for me growing up and really wanting to make a difference in this world. But, again, being surrounded by that violence and the negativity, there's times in my life where I felt like I was going on that road as well. There's times that I did go down that road. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't a saint by any means, but there was always a small part of me who recognized that there was something bigger than just what was on the 4 blocks. And it doesn't take much for you to see it. You open a book, you go on the internet, you see that there's so much other worlds out there. There's people living in different countries, living different type of lives. And I realized and recognized I wanted more. And I realized that there was more out there for me. And so it was just the yearning to want to find that for myself is what really had me moving in that direction. And, again, it wasn't easy by any means. And, I'm going to quickly go into a story. In 2005, I lost a cousin to gun violence. My cousin Omar McLeod was shot and killed downtown Toronto. And at that time, going through that situation was difficult for me, because here I grew up in a really tough neighborhood, and there's a lot of lessons that I learned in this tough neighborhood, including revenge. And so going through my heart was right at that moment was something dark and gruesome. It was the feeling of revenge and wanting to go out and to find the murderers who killed my cousin so I can pay it forward, so to speak. And, I really wanted their family to feel exactly how my family was feeling, the anguish and the pain. And, somewhere within that, I ended up having a conversation with somebody who saw the anger in me. And he said to me, Jeff, you're bigger than this. And what you're going through is difficult and tough, but understand that somewhere within you, you have the power to get through this, and to not only get through this, but to actually stand on top of your story and to go out there and share it with the world and become that person who, if those young men who killed your cousin, if they had someone like you, they would never go down that path.
So instead of going after in a different way, you thought, okay, I'm going to come right from the corner and see how I can find out what the problem is. Why did this end up happening instead of starting a new problem?
Yeah, absolutely. And I recognized something in myself at that point. I recognized that I had the ability to put out a level of energy. Like, Charles, you got to know that time, that level of energy was absolutely gruesome. It was dark. It was something that even when I really sit and think about it to this day, it absolutely scares me. But I had a level of energy that I was putting out, and I recognized that if I could put out that negative energy, then I had the capability of putting out the same level of energy, but in a positive way. And so that is what I chose to do. Rather than going out there and actually looking to kill the murderers who killed Omar, I decided to turn it around. And so based on that, I have grown so much. I have become a motivational speaker. I've become a social advocate. I've become somebody who children can look at as a mentor, whether it be from a distance or whether it be in person. People who I speak to and see regularly, who I mentor and help them to come up so they don't have to come up in those type of circumstances as well. And I realized something, that words are so powerful, and you being present in someone's life is so powerful. And because I made the turn to no longer go the direction of the negative, and now I'm going the direction of the positive, I've recognized that with my same level of energy that I put out there, rather than going out there and killing someone, I can use that same level of energy to actually go out there and maybe prevent the next murder. Like, maybe I can go out there and prevent the next teenage pregnancy through mentoring. Maybe I can go out there and prevent the next person who decides that they want to drop out of school. There's so much that you can do. You can turn your story around and make it a positive one and make an impact on the world. And that's exactly what I chose to do. There was a decision that I made, a conscious decision that I made. And I'm so glad I've stuck with it, because I could tell you there's been story after story of people who I've spoken to now who I have changed their life based on the fact that I made a decision a long time ago to walk in the way of making change in the world.
Right, because the thing that I want my fans to listen and what you said, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Mm-hmm. The same energy that someone can put in to go get revenge, because you have to think about it. You're building up all this energy, then you have to go out and find the person or plot what you have to do and think what you have to do, and then go have the energy to go out and do it. All that built up energy and struggle that you started out with, if you turn that energy and put it into something like entrepreneur business, making something, construction something, you don't see the value. People forget that the value they have in themselves to give all that energy into this way, if they put all the energy on, like, say, on the basketball court, in the books, they'll be 10 times ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We all have the ability to turn things around. And again, I'm not going to make it sound like it's easy, because when you come up in a certain circumstance, it becomes your norm. And so if you're used to seeing violence, if you're used to seeing drugs, if you're used to seeing your mother or your father being an alcoholic, if you're used to your parents smoking, if you're used to seeing domestic violence in your home, it's easy to walk down that same path, because that's what you've seen so often. But you have to make a conscious decision at some point in your life to say, I will not be that person. I will not be that alcoholic like my father. I will not be the domestic abuser like my father, or whatever it is that's happening in your life. You have to make the conscious decision to turn it around. And once you do that, that energy that you've been putting out on the negative side, you can definitely turn it around on the positive side. It's funny. I often say, when people say, I have this certain goal, I have this certain dream, but it's difficult. It's hard. It is hard. Absolutely, it's hard. But you know what's hard as well, Charles? It's hard to live in poverty, because I've been there. It's hard to live with your lights turned off and you don't know when they're going to get turned on. It's hard to live in having the heat turned off in the middle of winter. It's hard. So if life is going to be hard, whether you live on the low end or you live trying to pursue your dreams and your goals, I would rather use my energy to pursue my dreams and my goals, because at the end of my life, even if I attain nothing, at least I could say, you know what? I tried. I put my effort in. I lived the life that I was trying to live. The goals I was trying to attain. Because in the end, I put the effort in on the positive side of things.
So then when people always ask, okay, you are who your people around you are. You know, you lead by example. If your people are around you a certain way, you look a certain way. So where and how did you find that point in time to say, listen, I can't hang out with certain people anymore. I can't do what I'm doing anymore. This is a time where I need to branch out.
You know, I saw a meme one time that said something along the lines of, you know, I'm sure Oprah along her journey had a bunch of friends and family that she wanted to pull up with her, but she couldn't do it. Right? You know, when it comes down to it, is we all have friends, we all got family, but everybody is on their own path. And when you have these big dreams and big goals, it's important that you follow your own dreams and goals, because not everybody's going to have the same level of instinct as you. They're not going to have the same level of a drive that you have. So it's really important that you jump on your own goals, your own dreams, your own path, and you run with it. Now, over the last couple of years, I've started Brothers from the Six nonprofit organization. I've become an accomplished author. I am a podcast host. I am a motivational speaker. I got actually invited to speak in Hawaii next year, 2019. And I can tell you this, Charles, over the last couple of years, as these things have started to materialize, I've recognized that I've had to kind of cut off or cut back on some of the time I was spending with some of my closest friends. I love them to death. I really do, and we'll always be friends. But I recognize that when I'm hanging with certain crowds, they would rather talk about what LeBron James is doing. They would rather talk about, you know, the latest basketball game or the latest football game. And there's time and a place for that, but that's all they would talk about. And it's difficult for you to really rise to where you're trying to get to when other people are continuing to hold you back in certain senses. I don't think they're trying to hold me back in any way, physically or even mentally. But when you're at the level of everybody else, you recognize that you can't do the growing that you need to do. So sometimes you got to cut back a little bit. And sometimes, go ahead, Charles.
But the thing about it is, I'm listening to you, and then I'm thinking, yeah, but people feel like, okay, oh, you know, he thinks he's bigger than me, or he's going a different level, or what the case may be. How do you show that it's not bigger? It's just you want to bring them with you?
I don't even think it's about bringing them with you. I really don't. I think it's about growing yourself. And you know, if you get to a certain level, you hit that goal that you've been trying to achieve, and your friends see it and they appreciate it, and now they want to jump up as well, then that's great because it makes them better. But I don't think our job is to pull them with us. I think our goal is to take care of ourselves. And I don't mean in a selfish way. We really have to attain to the goals that you have in your head. Charles, you and I both, for example, may want to be urologists. We both want to be surgeons, but your path to getting there is different than my path, right? And you may want to go to this certain university, and I want to go to this university. And so our paths are different. So even if we have the same goal when it comes to the final job, we both have different paths to get there. So I have to jump on my train and go. I can't jump on the Jeff and the Charles train. You know what I mean? You got to jump on your train. I got to jump on my train and see where it takes us. And if we meet up on the other side and we're both urologists, we're both working in the same hospital, then fabulous. If not, no problem. We can still be friends. We can still hang out. But I got to make sure that I invest my time into me and not into everybody else around me. Because once you're able to invest into you and grow you, then again, maybe your friends are going to come along afterwards. And if they don't, it's all good. At least I'm living my dreams.
So then you said, you know, your train, your time. How did you know? Because I know you weren't doing this all before. You have a 9 to 5.
Right.
When did you realize, wait a minute, my 9 to 5 is, you know, bringing in the bread and the butter for my family, but there's something in me, there's something else I need to be doing. When did that light bulb come on?
You know, there's been a few occasions where I could say it really turned on for me. So when I was starting Brothers from the Six nonprofit organization, I had some brothers who were working with me who I love, friends of mine. And they said, yeah, let's do it. Let's make a difference in our community. And as we were going along, I realized and recognized that they weren't putting in the same effort. And I realized that they didn't have the same passion that I had. And again, that goes back to what we were just talking about, that your dreams are yours. They don't belong to anybody else. So it's your job to make them happen. Now, during that time, I was thinking, man, like this is hurtful. Like I have a bunch of guys, we're trying to do this stuff, but I'm doing all the work. And I remember listening to Lisa Nichols. Lisa Nichols is a motivational speaker out of the US. And it was one of her talks on YouTube. And it really just opened my eyes because she was talking about the fact that you can't do what everybody else is doing. Sometimes you got to step out and do your own thing. Sometimes you got to step out on that cliff and make that jump, which is funny because that's what your podcast is called, The Jump. But yeah, you got to step out on that cliff and jump. And oftentimes we're standing on that cliff and we see everybody else doing their thing, living their life. We see this person on Facebook who's going on these trips. We see this person who bought this new car. We see this person who has their dream job. And we stand on the edge of that cliff and we watch them. And then we get nervous and we back away. We got to jump. We got to make that jump. We got to go and live life. And as Lisa Nichols says, that along your journey, you're going to get cuts. You're going to hit against that mountain as you're falling. You're going to get bruises. But when you get to the bottom, either you're going to stand up and do it again because maybe you failed. Maybe you had issues, but you got to stand up and do it again. But when you get there, understand that you have fallen before. So you know how to get up. You know how to stand up, and it's your job. It's your desire in life. It should be your desire in life to jump every single time. And so for me, again, it was important for me to step away from some of my friends and actually go and make that jump. And listening to that YouTube clip of Lisa Nichols really opened my eyes to really going and making that jump. So I would say that's one of the things that really opened my eyes in terms of stepping out of my comfort zone and making things happen.
All right. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I see that you jumped because you are an author now.
Yes, sir.
You wrote a couple of books. So when we come back, I want you to tell us about the books, why you wrote the books, and how it's changed your life. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Introducing Promo Caribbean, the Caribbean's #1 mobile app. The only app you'll need to stay current on local and regional news, jobs, business listings, parties, attractions, travel, and much more. Whether you're in the Caribbean, Canada, the US, the UK, or anywhere in the world, this revolutionary app allows you to connect, engage, and support your Caribbean community through your mobile device. Reach the whole Caribbean community from the palm of your hands. Download the Promo Caribbean app now for free at the App Store and Google Play.
Yes, do download the Promo Caribbean app. Anywhere you go around the world, you can listen to my show. But right now on my show, I have Jeff A.D. Martin. And before we went to break, I asked Jeff about his new venture. And it is called Brothers from the Six, Role Models in My Community. But what I love about this thing, it's like a flip coin. Because on one side, it's for the males, and on one side, it's for the young ladies, because it says Brothers from the Six, Role Models in My Community. It's a double flip-sided book. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you talked about, on one side is Brothers from the Six, Role Models in My Community, and on the other side is Sisters from the Six, Role Models in My Community. And I created this book based off of the fact that as a motivational speaker, when I go into the schools, I speak to our kids, and oftentimes you ask them, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? And I'm hearing the same old stories. I'm hearing, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a rapper. I want to be a YouTube star. And, if you have the skills and the ability to do those type of stuff, then go ahead. I'll be your biggest fan. But the truth of the matter is that most of us will never get there, no matter how much we dream. And so I wanted our kids, particularly in the Toronto community, because that's where I'm from and that's what I represent. I want our children to recognize that we have role models in our communities. We have doctors, we have judges, we have lawyers, we have entrepreneurs, we have veterinarians, the list goes on and on. I want our children to recognize that these people exist. And not only do they just exist, but they are from your neighborhoods. So even if you're living in a situation where it's not the most desirable, you're living in a tough neighborhood, an underserved community, there are people who are doing fabulous things in the city who have come from your community, who have come from very similar housing like you have. And because of that, they have succeeded. So I want our children to recognize that they can exceed as well.
Yeah. Now, the thing about it is I'm looking at the cover. I like the cover. I like the way it looks because it's made for us. It's made for a child that they can see themselves and they're like, wait a minute. Because what you did is you made it Toronto based. You made it so when they look at it, like, wait, she's on the TTC. You know what I mean? He's catching the game. Why did you go full in the Toronto style? Like you're thinking, why? I'm thinking like, okay, let me put it this way. As a marketing person,
yes,
you're diving straight into Toronto. Why are you thinking straight Toronto?
Toronto is a city that raised me. Toronto is a city where my heart beats. And I've had an opportunity to tour or to be in different areas of the world. And I got to tell you, for me, there's no place like home. There's no place like Toronto. And like I said, I grew up in an underserved community. I grew up in a situation where if there was students and children around me who had the opportunity to see role models and to see people who look like them, who are judges, who are doctors, who are architects, people who are doing things that were changing this world, then maybe there would be more people or more children who would not go down the negative path. And again, growing up in an underserved community, I had friends who were killed, who were murdered at a young age. I had friends who, even when I see them to this day, at the age I'm at now, friends who are still spinning their wheels because they weren't able to really figure out things in life. And I recognize that if you are able to see someone who looks like you, who is doing fabulous things, it gives you a mirror reflection of what you can possibly look like. And that's exactly what I wanted to do with this book with all the kids within the city of Toronto.
Now, I'm looking at it like, okay, so you have the book. It's a fantastic book. Why did it take so long? Because here's the thing. People always say, it's that fear. So tell them why it took so long for you. Where was the fear or what was it? Because, we have a lot of authors out there that have great stories, but they didn't take the chance like you did. And see what happens? You did a phenomenal book right now that people need to go out and get this thing. And it's on Amazon. I'm going to plug it right now. Buy it on Amazon. Go to Amazon and pick it up. You know what I mean? There's a young children. If you have young children, this is a book they need to have on their shelves, and not only have on their shelves, to pass it on from generation to generation. So the question is, I'm going to go back to it. Why did it take so long for you? What was the fear that you had to write this thing?
Well, there's a couple of things. This book took a while because the process, there was a lot of learning. It was my very first children's book, my very first book. And so there was a lot of learning along the journey. And so just learning the whole process of the formatting of the book, the illustrator, I had some issues with an illustrator. I had to fire one and hire another. There were some issues there. But when you're talking about the fear and getting over the fear, there's another book that I'm working on, and I'm hoping to be back on the show real soon about that. And so the whole idea is to have 10 Black males who are telling their story, who are talking about how they fell down, but how they were able to get back up. And that's going to be coming out in 2019. And I talk about that book because it directly talks about the fear. When I was organizing these men, these authors, these writers, I made it clear to them that I want you to talk about the most difficult and vulnerable thing that you've been through. And I know it's difficult to tell the world, but it's important that you do that because regardless of the fear that you have, understand that somebody learning from your experience, someone growing from what you've told them is bigger than any fear that you can have. It is larger than any fear that you can have. There are people who are sitting on their butts right now who have that amazing book that's sitting on their hard drive, but because they have a certain fear, what are people going to think about me? How is the world going to take this? Is anyone going to buy this? They would rather think about that stuff than actually think about the lives you can heal, the people you can help along their journey. Understand that any fear that you might have in you, it is smaller than anything else because you are able to help people along their journey. You're able to help people flourish. And that is bigger than any fear that for me that I have at any time. I'm scared like anybody else. I got fear. I got things that I'm thinking about, is anyone going to accept this book? Is anybody going to, like my ideas? But when you start getting the feedback from people who are telling you, Jeff, you changed my life based on this. Jeff, I heard what you said and I'm going forward. I'm going back to school. I'm going to get back with my wife. I'm going to, you start hearing the positive stories. Man, I'm telling you that there's no fear on earth that is bigger than any one of those stories. And that's what has me going forward every single time.
Yeah, and I love that you said it, because people see us on the road, they see us on stage, and they see us doing a podcast show, a radio show, and they say, oh, it's easy for you guys. It's not easy. You know what I mean?
It isn't.
I launched my podcast show on November 19th. It took me about 4 to 5 months to launch it, because I was like, oh, I'm not ready. No, it's not ready. What's people going to think? I don't know. But the thing is, unless I do it and just get it out there, I will never know what people think. And that's what we got to do, because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. We wouldn't be talking about this great book, how you've changed people's lives. So unless we need to change other people's lives as fear, we need to get over that and jump ourselves.
Absolutely. You have the singer Adele, great Grammy Award, very highly acclaimed singer. Adele, when she sings, even to this day, she is so nervous to be on stage. And, when you read about Adele, she talks about the time that I think she was in Australia, and she was so nervous on this particular concert date that she projectile vomited on somebody backstage. That's how nervous she was. And she says that the nerves don't go away until after she's done her concert and she steps off stage. But this is the thing. There are people out there who have been blessed by Adele's music. Adele has changed their lives by the words that she's sung in her music. And that is bigger than any type of nervousness she has going on stage. So because of that, she keeps going. She keeps going, even though she's scared, even though she has her fear. She's performed on probably thousands of stages and she's just as fearful. But the fact that she is learning or people have been inspired by her work, that is bigger than any fear that can be out there.
So then here's the thing. What's your next fear that you want to conquer?
My goal, I don't even know if it's a fear anymore, because again, when you go through the mindset of thinking I can change someone's life. So if there's 10 people laughing at me and there's one person that says, Jeff, you saved my life, then that is bigger than those 10 people laughing at me. So I don't even know if it's a fear anymore. But for me, my goal is to tour the world speaking as a public speaker. That is my goal. And I am definitely working on it every single day. And again, it's so important to me. It's not even about me seeing the world, as fun as that would be. I want to be able to make a big of an impact as I can while I'm here. And, I got to tell you, Charles, I was in a school just in the end of October. And I had been to the school about 4 times, speaking to the 7th and 8th graders. And there was a young girl who I could tell was troubled. And on the last day that I spoke, she came to me at the end and she was whispering something to me, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. And as the kids kind of left and it was just her and I, she said, Jeff, I've been listening to you, and because of what you've been telling me about loving myself, I've decided I'm going to stop self-harming myself.
Oh, wow. That's big.
And I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. You don't know what people are going through. You're driving down the street, the car beside you, you have no idea what that person is going through. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, why do I have a fear of being on stage and trying to do a talk when I have people in the crowd whose lives are being changed?
Right. There's something bigger.
There's something bigger.
Yes, much bigger than what you're thinking, what I'm thinking. So that leads me to my ending question for you. And I think I kind of do it, but I want you to tell the Jump fans anyways. When you leave this earth, what's your legacy?
Man, I want my legacy to be that I have blessed as many lives as I can while I was here. Whether that be through my children's book, whether that be through my self-help books, whether it be through my podcast, whether it be through my motivational videos on Instagram, whatever method that might be, I want to bless as many lives as I can to help people find their purpose. Because when somebody is great, it just makes the world greater. When people become greater, it just makes the whole environment greater. People are living their best life because they found their purpose. And my legacy, I want to help as many people in this world to find their purpose and to live their best life. That's my legacy. That's my goal. And I plan to do that in everything that I do. Again, whether it be through writing books, whether it be through one-on-one conversations, whether it be through speaking to a crowd of 1,000, of 1,000,000, maybe one day. My goal is to leave a legacy of helping people to find their purpose. It's bigger than me. It's not about me. It's bigger than me. It's about the greater good.
All right. So listen, tell everybody where they can find you, how they get a hold of you, social media, website. How do they get these books? Let us know.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere, Jeff A.D. Martin, whether it be social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Jeff A.D. Martin. My website is jeffadmartin.com. And this book, this beautiful book that I've created, you can find it on Amazon.ca, knowledgebookstore.com. And yeah, hit me up. Questions, I'll answer them. If you're looking for someone, I always make it known everywhere I go, whenever I'm doing a motivational talk, that I'm available. I make myself available. You want to talk, you want to email, you want to call, let's do that. I don't want anyone to feel like they're alone. So if you want to reach out to me, please reach out to me, jeffadmartin.com, or anywhere on social media at jeffadmartin.
All right, Jeff, I thank you so much. But listen, Jump fans, you know what's going to happen. We're going to end this, but we're going to go into the vault room, and I'm going to ask Jeff some personal questions. So if you want to listen to some more, don't forget to log in. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, Charles. Thank you so much.
All right, don't go nowhere. Jump fans, hey, it takes that one chance to jump. Fear is always going to be around, but if you want to be great, you got to jump.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer. Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.